for Intelligent Transportation Systems Committee for Hillsborough County, or Hillsborough TPO. So I'm Margaret Kubalens, and I welcome everyone here. And that calls us to order. Any introductions of anyone visiting? Because we have roll call that will come up. Because I did that last time, didn't I? Okay.
Excuse me, Madam Chair,
Yes,
for the record, I wanted to let you know that the recording has started.
thank you. Okay, so with that, Gail, could we move to roll call
Yes, ma'am. Margaret Kubalens,
here?
Brian Zayas,
Here.
Amir Kawaja, Brian McCarthy, Samantha Flores, Anna Quinones. I believe I see Sherry Callahan online. Berthea, is that correct? Thank you.
Yes.
Dexter Corbin, I believe is
Yep,
also
I'm
virtual.
here virtually. Yep, virtual.
Thank you. Jeff Sims, Achilles Cortales,
Here.
Megan Rott. Is Megan there? I can't pronounce her last name. I need to hear that one.
She's not. Ed Albritton is attending her place.
Ed Albritton, thank you. And let me just do a quick count. I believe we have an in-person quorum. I'm showing 4 in person. We do need 5. Am I missing anyone? On voting members.
Someone just walked out the door.
Okay, who is it that just came in?
No.
Terrace, right?
Is that Amir?
Yes.
Yes, Amir is replacing Brian for Temple Terrace, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes,
so Amir Kawaja is in person, correct?
yes.
Then we do have an in-person quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. So with that, we can move, let's go to the public comments. Anyone in the audience have any comments to make? Want to come to the floor? Please identify yourself.
Hi, Pete Costello with Drive Engineering. I wanted to let the committee know that the Florida Puerto Rico ITE section and ITS Florida are putting on a conference called Transpo 2024, August 25th to 28th in Orlando. So we're in the process of planning that now, looking for abstracts and presentations and exhibitors and all that. Just wanted to let the committee know about that.
What were the dates again?
August 25, 28. It's at the Hilton Signia Bonnet Creek over by Disney.
Okay, thank you very much. And then Jeff Sims just showed up. So we can add him to the list of voting members as being present in person. And then I see someone has their hand raised.
This is Rafael, Hillsborough County Traffic Management. So in regards to that, Pete's mentioned about the Transpo conference. Would you guys have a website or this information published on ITS Florida website?
ITS Florida's website is lagging behind ITE, so it's on the Florida Puerto Rico section ITE already.
Can this be published in other websites? Just because again, it's from our agency, we're required to present a bunch of documentation to get authorized to go to the conferences, and that helps a lot. Thanks.
You put it?
I just put the link to the
Thank you.
Florida.
Thank you. And I didn't understand the question. Was it about getting approval to attend? Yeah, there is a registration fee and that'll be forthcoming if it's not on that website.
Thank you. That was it. Yep. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And you're taking abstracts right now?
Shortly.
Shortly, okay. Planning ahead is a good thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any additional comments? I don't see anyone with a hand raised either. Okay. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the fourth agenda item, which is review and approval of the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes? Yes. Okay, do we have a motion to approve them?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the January meeting.
Achilles makes a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Do we have a second?
This is Brian Sayas. I second the motion.
With that, any further discussion? None being heard. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None being heard, the motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, now we have a series of status reports. You want to take that over, Vishaka? Thank you.
Well, no.
Good afternoon. You guys hear me okay online and everything? Hopefully so. Maybe someone will speak up if they can't.
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Thank you, Madam Chair and ITS Committee for having us today. My name is Alice Price. I believe I've presented to this committee, but the complexion looks a little different from the last time that I presented. I'm representing the Florida Department of Transportation and the Tampa Bay Smart Cities Alliance today. Just want to make sure I'm clicking the right thing too. There, because I just had to click into the screen. So, okay. If you're not aware, the Tampa Bay Smart Cities Alliance is a regional collaboration of public and private sector organizations focused on using technology and innovation to improve transportation throughout the Tampa Bay region. Our core team consists, as you can see in that top box, the USF Center for Urban Transportation Research, the Florida Department of Transportation, and the City of Tampa. And we recently added a leadership team that comprised of the folks that you see in that second box there. We added the City of St. Pete, Hillsborough County, Pinellas County, Pasco County, Fort Pinellas, and the Hillsborough TPO. We meet regularly and host quarterly meetings on various topics to explore new projects that are rooted in three platforms: regional data platform, the Mobility as a Service initiative, and also reimagining infrastructure. So today's presentation is going to touch on a little bit of those, each of those, but it's going to mostly focus on the reimagining infrastructure piece and specifically congestion mitigation efforts. The catalyst for this presentation, the loop in just a second, there it goes. The catalyst for this presentation was a prior TPO presentation from the November 2023 timeframe, I believe, that highlighted the portions of the needs assessment for the 2050 long range transportation plan. These are just two little sample slides and they're a little difficult to read, but it's really just representing what was discussed. The two scenarios that were looked at for congestion management included various techniques that I've highlighted in that little turquoise box there in terms of congestion management, such as hard shoulder running, ramp metering, active signal management, and intersection improvements. The TPO asked FDOT to come present information on the congestion management techniques that are currently under consideration. And so that's why we are here. So as you can tell on screen, there are a variety of tools in our toolbox, and I'm sure you're aware of many. I've organized this discussion into the current investments that we're making, as well as some of the things that are on the horizon in the planning and pilot project phases. The current investments are projects that are funded and are either in construction or progressing through construction. And the planning and pilots are the things that are on the horizon that are being evaluated and tested in the planning phase and may be funded for design and construction over the next few phases. Keep in mind, what you're going to see is not an exclusive list. It's just a highlight of some of the tools and techniques that we're implementing and that we're considering. And also keep in mind that we have a number of design projects where ITS is already incorporated as a further measure to help manage congestion. So I'm going to start with the first one on the list. FDOT, many of you are aware, have been developing a managed lane system for over a decade. Really, it's longer than that, but it's really been a focus for the last decade. We're still evaluating the best ways to manage congestion through managed lanes. It could be dynamic pricing or pricing based on demand. It could also be limiting access points, but that's all still in discussion. Ultimately, the managed lanes would connect all the way from downtown St. Pete all the way into downtown Tampa. And then there's, of course, a series of managed lanes that would connect from the other side of downtown Tampa to Orlando as well. There will also be connections to Tampa International Airport and the West Shore Business District. In some locations, these projects also offer hard shoulder running and other transit opportunities, such as the Howard Franklin Bridge is being fortified to up to light rail can pass over. And then there is a transit envelope that's still being preserved throughout West Shore and a multimodal center that is envisioned in that area as well. And then connections also to downtown St. Pete and downtown Tampa. In addition, with the Managed Lanes project, there are also bicycle and pedestrian amenities at the community level that can help offer some mode shift into those types of modes and over the Howard Franklin Bridge as well. So another important tool in our toolbox, of course, is demand management. We saw the benefits of this during COVID. When there were fewer people on the roads, we could get some of our projects done a little bit quicker. Demand management includes anything from flexible work schedules to teleworking and ride sharing, of course. Kind of our latest conversation when it comes to that. For years, many of you know, we partnered with TVARTA for our commuter services. And with TVARTA having sunset, we're now partnering with the Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority. We're on the other side of the bay, and they will be taking lead on commuter services for the whole region. So that we're in the scoping process with them right now to turn out to visualize what that scope is going to look like and how it will evolve as our needs change over the region. This is especially important during the heavy construction that we're going to have going on now and for the next 10 years, of course. We've also made numerous improvements in transit throughout the past 10 years, again, to encourage that mode shift to other modes besides road. And we'll continue to partner with the local transit agencies to support their plans moving forward. These are just a few examples. I think one of the most important to this committee, of course, is how we've made significant investments in traffic operations and intelligent transportation systems, of course, the theme of this committee. This is truly how we can reimagine our infrastructure and ensure readiness for future innovations and technologies. I know you're familiar already with these projects, so I'm not going into detail. I know Ed has provided several updates over the past few months and years, but I did want to help you join the dots to how these also have an active role in congestion mitigation, right? They help us manage incidents and congestion. They help us reduce delay, improve travel time reliability, and will enhance our multimodal connections through those. So the integrated corridor management projects are planned to install technology upgrades along 5 main corridors. And this is just the latest. We've had other ICM projects and others throughout the region, but these are the latest ones that should be completed construction, I believe, by the end of this year. I'm looking at Ed. By the end of this year, we hope. We hope. Yep, we hope. And these are also diversion routes that will help us during construction of the West Shore and the downtown interchange. The frame that you see here, I'm sure you've heard many things about that. It's a regional intercity ICM project crossing 77 miles of I-4 and another 122 miles of adjacent corridors to I-4 in order to help us actively manage not construction, but congestion. It offers speed harmonization, traffic incident management, road weather alerts, work zone traffic management, backup queue warning, and vehicle to infrastructure messaging. And that's only really just scratching the surface of everything that those projects do. But those are a lot of the buzzwords that we also saw in your congestion management strategy. So with these projects, you're going to be enabled to do more with less, honestly. And then the last one is the city's ATMS project. It also provides citywide technology improvements to over 500 intersections throughout the city. And so that's another one that we think is finishing up maybe this year or next year. That right? Next year.
Summer,
Summer.
this summer.
Hey, that can bring you good news. That's awesome. That's awesome. So be great. So you can see all these projects are tremendous opportunities to be able, I'll talk about the data side of that later, how we hope to be able to utilize and harness that data and help predict what's happening along the roadways and be able to actively manage the traffic. So these are awesome steps. You can see way before construction, we were already getting those things in place. So great opportunities. Another element, of course, as engineers and planners, there are many ways to reimagine the way that we design our roadways and our transportation facilities. These are just a few that you can see that DOT has been experimenting with as we continue to evolve from traditional design to a more innovative approach. The approach not only allows us to move cars and freight, like you could see with the diverging diamond and the roundabout, but also allows us to enhance transit, bicycle, pedestrian, and improve safety through complete streets and protected bikeways. So again, just another way to promote that mode shift. It's still connected to that congestion mitigation initiative. So I'm going to transition from the current investments. Those are things that were already planned. They're already under construction. The cities are already completed with construction, and talk a little bit about our planning pilot projects that we have underway. We presented that Smart Corridor, the Smart Corridor project before, and it's been a hot topic in the Tampa Bay Smart Cities Alliance here lately as well. The purpose of the pilot was to explore how we could link these tools that you see from those other projects to form a comprehensive solution for the corridor. So the phase one focused on really defining what a smart corridor is, developing the toolbox for all the different options that we may have along a corridor. We developed a brand called SmartLink. You see that at the bottom. And then really wanted it to be a flexible approach that you could pick up and place throughout the region, a different set of tools along a different corridor, depending on what those needs in the context is. So a smart corridor to us is a stretch of roadway where technology connects with the community in real time in order to dynamically manage traffic. Okay, this graphic just depicts a few of the things that you've already heard from some of the technologies that we've deployed. Now it's how do we pull those together to truly move the needle on safety and congestion and efficiency of those corridors. So it's really just that comprehensive look, pulling it all together. And we are now looking at where to apply those, right? So as we move into phase two of the pilot, we're looking for the right corridors to apply these principles. The intent for the phase two is to develop a concept and an operations strategy and be able to prioritize the next round of funding. We also want to perform some amount of marketing and outreach to be able to kind of test out the SmartLink concept and really develop that public acceptance of what we're trying to do. And this was a topic at our last TBSCA meeting, our leadership meeting, even just last week, I believe it was. Several corridors were suggested, as you see here. There was a lot of discussion on US 19 and Alt 19 over in Pinellas, as well as Hillsborough Avenue and SR 60, and even I-275 North. You can see these are just a few of kind of the obvious ones, if you will, but we took a little deeper dive, which was kind of nice. We're going to be putting these in matrix. That's just very simple planning level, like which ones would rise to the top based on a certain level of criteria. So of course, we're looking at safety and congestion, connectivity, access, multimodal facilities, technology, and of course the context of land use. So we're really excited to see which ones bubble up to the top. So I wanted to pause just for a moment, and I wondered if this committee had, or the members of the public maybe with us, or the members of the committee that are online, Are there certain, feedback that you have on either any of these corridors or additional corridors?
One of this, we actually have I-75 frame project.
Yeah, that's 75, yeah, which I don't think I had 75 on
Well,
there.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it's, you kind of, it's like some of these corridors, arterial line.
Report, yeah, that's great, yeah.
And it'll essentially have the same scope that, yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point. It was brought up in our leadership meeting that, we should be looking at it as like a corridor, not just the road, but a network along, right. So I think that's a great point to understand what those technologies are around it too. Right. Any other input? What about the criteria? Safety, congestion, connectivity, access, multimodal, existence of other technologies, which is great. On the right track? Okay, awesome. So we're going to be putting together that matrix in the next 2 weeks and sending that out to the leadership team for input. And we're going to see which candidates rise to the occasion.
There's also a smart signal initiative statewide that's sort of starting to live as criteria to be considered for smart signal.
Awesome.
So, I can hopefully get you some information on that.
Right. Is it specific locations or?
Right now, we're at a state level, we're just trying to decide. Okay,
Maybe we could help guide where we're going. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Great. I gotta come to these kind of meetings to be able to communicate with Ed because he's a busy man. Oh, awesome. Well, I wanted to be able to also mention just a couple of the other strategies that the Alliance has supported, and I do feel that these are, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just want to, going back with the smart corridors, would you mind sharing out the link to SmartLink?
Yes.
That short video? I think it captures the essence of the regional perspective on what a smart corridor can offer. And recognize that on some of the arterials or the freeways, you know, not every corridor is going to have everything in it. And so that is part of the decision making that needs to go into it as far as how do we want to study it based on the context and who it's serving, recognizing not every corridor is going to have everything, right?
Yeah, there's a video we usually play that just kind of showcases your toolkit. I just really showed one slide. We have freeway and arterial approach to both of those. So it's just a really nice, if you're not sure what we're talking, it's really just connecting the dots of all the things that we talk about. And really, performance metrics to me are key on that, like, you know, baseline of before, during, after, to really show that there's benefit to putting the extra time to think about it comprehensively.
Alice, I just had a question up. So I don't see many east-west. except
True,
one.
now that I mapped them out, it's.
Like, you know, traditionally, obviously, the three bridges you would, because there is obviously a lot of traffic between the two kind of sites. So I wonder if that's on purpose or,
Can you repeat the two sites that you
so
said?
the, you know, the three bridges for the, you know,
Yeah.
60, 275, I don't see them as being part. So I was wondering like,
Good, they just didn't come up in suggestion, but I love that you've suggested it. And something else to mention about US 19, that's obviously a really long route. So what we figured is we're gonna pull some data. I saw, I think it was might have been a congestion management strategy. One of the documents is like kind of grouping it north, central, south. So hopefully that'll emerge once we start seeing the data. And so it could be that, I know SR60 particularly, we have that east piece that goes out to Brandon, but it could be something that goes really all the way through. So I think that's a great suggestion.
I have a question. So is this project doing or considering an application of the technology, or also the infrastructure is going to be included as part of the project?
So what, it's planning phase in a pilot, right? So our thought is develop a concept of operations. And then what I would hope is that we could program that next phase of design. And that part of the pilot would also be project prioritization. So can we afford to do everything in this project? But I would hope that you could, yeah, include those components and then what piece of it can we afford to start with? Like if we looked at all of 19, well, we can only afford to do, you want to do it comprehensive. So I'd take a segment and then do as much as you could in that segment to proof of concept to do it all. So yeah, we would want to
Yeah, let's-
find.
Hey, Alice, this is Rafael. Question, are we planning to also add connector routes as, for an example, 0674 that connects, 301, 75 and US 41, Gibsonton, Big Bend, those kind of locations where it interconnects, alternate routes with freeways.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what was brought up in the leadership meeting is you can't really just focus on, one road, that it is a network of roads. And that's the way we
Yep.
approach I-4 frame and others. So yes, it would be envisioned as a network versus just, so the corridor includes multiple roadways, I guess.
Thank you.
Good. I'm glad there was good questions on Smart Corridor that helps get us some direction on where people would like to see it go. Anything else on Smart Corridor? Thank you for the time, Madam Chair. So I'll jump into, I know Chairman's one of her special projects. I know she's also provided regular updates on mobility as a service. And as painful as it was, the initial pilot, I do feel like was very successful. A successful first for the region. We've heard through a lot of our lessons learned throughout the nation and the globe that this is not something that happens overnight, that you have to have a bit of patience and certainly a lot of champion region wide. So very thankful to the city of Tampa for taking the lead. As our transit system continues to grow and mature, there are going to be great opportunities to grow this initiative. Margaret and I kind of put our heads together and try to figure out what is that next phase, and we're going to continue to discuss and explore those for other ways to use the MAS. The MAS is still out there, by the way. Move It is still up. It's just the more commercial version that you would have the commercials and things in it, but it is still available for use, and hopefully it will continue to grow. And we're looking at things for like workforce transportation. How can we use that to eliminate the transportation barrier from employment? Okay, and then, I don't know, was there any other updates on that, on MAS? More to come is my answer on that. The Suncoast Mobility Hub was the first of its kind approach to harnessing data to create new insights, working in collaboration with our regional partners, such as the TPO here was the original host of the system, and then we have evolved it. This is, to me, especially important with all the data that's going to be coming out of the ICM, the frames, the ATMS, and other technology related deployments that we have, how we take that information and then be able to, or take that data and turn it into information and knowledge and even a mapping for moving forward. The platform is now up and running. We've been testing it internal at DOT. And then we're actively getting several of our partners their access so that they could go in and sandbox and play. And already there's been so many great ideas on can it do this, can it do that? So I'm encouraged to see and watch it grow. Another important piece, and this is one of the last things that I'll mention, is a key component of it was the work zone data exchange. This is going to allow us to share harmonized work zone data among multiple agencies and with the public. The objective is to make, our work zones safer and more efficient through the real-time access of data among our partners, right? So hopefully local governments and transit, maybe even eventually developers and utilities, but also to the public, and then also Google and Waze and those methods as well. In addition, we'll be able to provide some work zone data into the vehicles, right? Actually, that's what it was intended in the beginning for, was the AV-CV component to be able to let the cars know when there were work zones active in and around the network. Our last regional TBSCA quarterly workshop focused on this topic, and we got some great feedback on the directioning system, and we're going to be following up with that at our next workshop on May the 9th. So I know I'm finished now. I just wanted to kind of leave you with a few words. There's so much that's still on the horizon. I feel DOT has been a very grateful for our partnership with all our TBSCA Alliance members. Each time we meet, it seems like new things come up that we want to begin to start a dialogue on. Here's just a few of the conversations that have been suggested. We've explored a few of these, but there's still a lot more to explore. So just want to thank the chair, Madam Chair, and committee members for allowing me to present today. And I'll leave you with a final safety message. Remember, work zones are temporary, but actions behind the wheel can last forever. So please approach those work zones cautiously. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Really appreciate you bringing this forward and sharing the information. I think we all have the opportunity to participate, especially very excited about the regional data exchange. And especially, we were just talking about the level of construction and the collaboration that's necessary to coordinate so much activity. It's not just the ATMS, I-board frame, and ICM corridors, but there's also water, wastewater, stormwater, and transportation projects, TGO.
Energy.
And yeah, there's just so much going on. And so having something that's shareable for a collaborative effort is really important. Oh, and we can't leave out on the special events.
It's all right.
Any comments, questions?
I just had a question on the data platform. You said partners are getting some access. How potentially can we get
Yeah,
access?
if you want to email Vishaka, like just that's who they usually, and then just let me know. And are you, which organization?
USF?
Okay, awesome. Yeah, yeah. In fact, so Sarah Hendricks and Phil Winters are part of our core team.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. So you can either reach out to them with Vishaka
Okay,
or
so-
me directly if you have information.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Great, thank you very much. Okay, it looks like we're opening up for an update from Hart on the Tampa Arterial Bus Rapid Transit and Circular Project.
Has a country that. Oh, so.
Oh, I thought it's not just.
We could.
That's true.
Education.
Okay, sure. Actually, yeah, we can defer that. Thank you. Okay, well, it sounds like where you're going to see, which is preliminary draft of 25-26 Unified Planning Work Program. Amber,
Good afternoon. How is everyone?
doing well, thank you.
Terrific. I am Amber Simmons, TPO staff, and the purpose of today's presentation is to give you an opportunity to comment on the draft Unified Planning Work Program, or UPWP, which contains the 2-year TPO budget and our timeline for completion. The full draft of this document is posted on our website, and the link is provided in your agenda, on your agenda item. So the UPWP is a requirement of all TPOs, and it's a federally required document that coordinates transportation planning activities and outlines our TPO budget for the next 2 fiscal years. As you may or may not recall, the Unified Planning Work Program differs from the Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP, in that the TIP identifies and prioritizes specific projects, and the UPWP consists of planning studies necessary to carry out the programs and are precursors to qualifying for many discretionary funding opportunities. It becomes effective July 1st, 2024, and runs through June 30th, 2026. The task numbers in a UPWP outline the work that's to be completed. Examples of the work are found under each task are under task 1. It's pretty much all things administration, such as the UPWP development, revisions, grants management, certification, apportionment, updates, and invoicing. Task 2, a lot of work happens here. That's complete streets, corridor studies, congestion, safety, ITS projects, resiliency, active transportation, intermodal, freight, transit, transportation demand management, transportation disadvantage planning, and the environment. The third task is our long-range transportation plan. It's amendments and data collection. Those are things such as traffic counts, multimodal counts, level of service, etc. The fourth task is the Transportation Improvement Plan. That's where the prioritization, the tip development and amendments are, and state tip coordination. Task 5 is pretty much all of our outreach efforts, committees and board work. Task 6 is local and state coordination with our partner agencies, such as FDOT and the Suncoast Transportation Planning Alliance, the Tampa Bay Transportation Management Area, and all our partners there. The seventh task is new for us, but that's going to be tracking our efforts spent exploring a regional MPO. The eighth is also regional in nature, but we define that separately as that tracks transfers of funds between the MPOs. And here is our budget. The UPWP budget consists of planning and Federal Transit Administration funds of $2,495,390 in fiscal year 25 and $2,539,070 in fiscal year 26. $600,000 annually in Surface Transportation Block Grant dollars. And lastly, an estimated $53,000 a year in Commission for Transportation Disadvantaged Funds, or CTD funds. It does not include any deobligated fiscal year 24 funds or discretionary grants. Our deobligated funds for fiscal year 24 is $650,350. And our budget includes all of our in-house studies, consultant funds, and personnel dollars for the next 2 years. Deobligated funds, just for your reference, are those funds that they're things that we've started in 24. We're going to need that money to finish them in 25. So we have to move what's left into the following year so that we can complete those studies. So here is our schedule with some milestones. The preliminary draft has been submitted to FDOT for its first review, and we are now sharing this draft with you, which, by the way, is linked in your agenda item, and you can find it on our website under Plans and Studies Unified Planning Work Program. And our intent is to take your comments and feedback to the board, and a summary of the contents are documented in the final work program. May, the board will approve the final version of the UPWP, and it's submitted to FDOT no later than May 15th. Then FDOT and Federal Highway will review it, comment, and the new UPWP will become effective on July 1st. And this extremely text-heavy slide is a summary of the projects in fiscal year 23 and 24. These are some of the completed projects, as well as the current 2-year disadvantaged business enterprise percentage of the TPO, which is currently 13% for all the eligible DBE projects. And for 25 and fiscal years 25 and 26, these are our critical path projects. And those are projects that the TPO is required to do, as well as those which were started in 24 and will continue into 25. As you can see, there are a lot of long-range transportation plan projects that we are wrapping up there. This next slide are the requests for planning and analysis. And it's not really a checklist or an exhaustive list of each project, but these are the projects that we're exploring based on funding and partner interest. These areas include transit, complete streets, non-motorized planning, technology, freight, and multimodal studies. And I'd like to open it up for comments and discussion. And again, we'll be making notes and suggestions for the final UPWP.
So it looks like we can gain access if you go to the agenda that was sent out to us. You can click on that.
Yes.
What about others that didn't get an access?
It's also under the posted on the website.
Okay.
Under the events.
When is the deadline for any comments or feedback yet?
We'll be taking those comments. We'll probably be finishing right before the board would be approving it in I believe it's the first week in May. So you're happy to send those comments to me, or you can send them through Vishaka and I can get them included.
So by the end of April?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Amber. Any other comments, questions? I don't see any hands free. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have the 2050 needs assessment for major projects presented to us by Wade Reynolds, who's in the house.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. 1 second while I get this picked up. I actually have 2 presentations to show to you here today. We just received some of the modeling results back on these. So I'll start with the big picture and then dig into the data a little bit on that. This is the presentation.
Good.
So this is the 2050 Long Range Transportation Plan, Access 2050, I should say, needs assessment for major projects. Those are typically major capacity projects, interchanges, and managed lanes, that type of project, and transit projects is what I was meaning to say. The sources for this list are requests from the jurisdictions, existing local priorities in the TIP, and the 2045 Long Range Plan. Regional priorities from the SCTPA, that's the Suncoast Transportation Planning Alliance, and the TMA, Transportation Management Area, which is the Tri-County area of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough. The FDOT Strategic Intermodal System Plan, which right now the adopted one looks out to 2045, but we will be receiving projects out to 2050 in the next month or so. And the FDOT non-strategic intermodal system projects, which are those that are not the interstates in the major statewide network. So starting out with the 2045 cost feasible projects, you can see you're probably familiar with many of these. We have several capacity projects on I-75, I-4, US 92, the Selman Expressway on both ends of it at the Gandy side and going out to Brandon. The Veterans Expressway, Memorial Highway, Interstate 275 from, well, the portion that's under construction now, and then the portion from Hillsborough to Bears as well. 19th down in Ruskin, Paseo El Mar, which has been constructed between US 41 and 301. US 41 from Big Bend Road to 19th. Big Bend Road itself from 41 to 301, which is also under construction. Gibsonton Drive rather from I-75 to 301. A portion of Highway 60. And Lithia Pinecrest, Bell Shoals Road, and Orient Road, and a couple of pieces of Hillsborough and Fowler. So that's that one. Now just a quick portion of the CIS cost feasible plan. You can see I-75, I-4, I-275, and the Gandy Bridge, among others here, as well as State Road 60. And then the new projects that we are evaluating in this needs assessment for the 2050. So these are new. We will be comparing the performance data from these against the others that I just mentioned, but there is quite a bit of overlap. You'll see Lithia Pinecrest here, County Road 39, US 301, an elevated highway extension from the terminus of the Selman Expressway down to Big Bend Road. 4 potential interchanges, one at US 41 and 275, one at Harney Road and I-75, one at US 301 and I-75, and one on I-75 between the Manatee County line and the Little Manatee River. Among the green lines that you will see here are transit projects. The one on the South Tampa Peninsula is called the South Tampa Multimodal Corridor. That one would be going from Old Port Tampa to downtown, really actually to the Amtrak station. The line going from the north end of the county to the south end is along either US 41 or the CSX tracks in those locations. That is a proposed Bradenton to Brooksville transit line that came to us from the South Coast Transportation Planning Alliance. You will also see, again, portions of State Road 60 in here from Brandon to Polk County. The proposed widening of I-275 from Hillsborough to Bears. Widening of the Veterans Expressway from just south of Van Dyke Road to the Pasco County line. Oh, and a couple of other transit projects that I didn't mention, the East-West BRT, which is from West Shore to Net Park in Temple Terrace, and the 50th 56th Street BRT, which would connect the University of South Florida to Brandon along Causeway Boulevard, eventually after it gets down there on 50th/US 41. I don't think I missed any on this, so I'll move on. Just an example of the tip table, we have about 90 priorities in the tip. Not all of them are major projects, but many are, and those would also be considered in their performance in the model, as well as their performance in past public surveying. So the next step, some of which I'm about to get to, the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Model, modeling of projects and their performance. We currently have a MetroQuest survey live, which you will be hearing about after this presentation. And then we will narrow down the list based on the project's performance and the availability of, or the projected availability of funding through 2050. Which is once we determine the funding levels, which we are narrowing in on. So I will skip this question slide and go to my next one, which answers some of the questions that we were just asking. All right. So here's the, and I just received this on Wednesday, I believe, or Tuesday. So it's pretty new, and we're about to get some updated information even in the next couple of days to go to the board next week, just as a preliminary performance assessment of these major projects. So the TBRPM, much of what goes into it is population and employment data. We call that the SE data, socioeconomic data. Those are within the traffic analysis zones, which line up roughly as bordered by our major roadway systems.
Excuse me, wait.
Yes.
Did you have something to share or are you just reading it?
Oh, can you all not see that? I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's up on mine, and let me just share the correct one. Sorry, I thought I did that.
And then you're gonna have to start over.
I will, sorry. And I see that Gail has her hand up. Was it to mention that, Gail?
Yes, it was.
Thank you. Okay, how about now? So the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Model, as I was mentioning, looks at population and employment, also called socioeconomic data. And it roughly, it deals with our large roadway network, calculates the trips between those TAZs via origins and destinations, and also includes the transit network, which may have lengths that differ from the roadway network. For example, if it's a rail corridor versus a roadway. And then that calculates the transit trips and roadway trips, assigning those to the transit and roadway network. So the metrics are transit ridership, person hours of delay, access to jobs, that's both transit and roadway access, the planning time index, the reliability index, and then auto travel time and transit travel time. So this is looking out to 2050. So we should be thinking about that. It's not tomorrow's performance, and it's based on the projected population and employment in 2050. So looking at transit access to jobs is how some of these transit projects perform. We do have some repeats in here that are one of the things that the consultant is working to sort of filter out right now. But the airport to downtown transit performed the highest for transits access to jobs. Transit in the managed lanes along I-275 and the managed lanes themselves perform very well for peak transit access. The South Tampa Rail that I just mentioned along the Summit Expressway performed well also. And then you can see that this says USF to Brandon Rail, but I believe that may be incorrectly shown because it's actually a BRT project using the roadways. Moving down to that US 41 rail project, it does not perform as well. I actually can't see it right here. But we have some questions about the ridership for that as well as the Tico streetcar extension. We may, because, for example, the streetcar extension, because it is used quite a bit by tourists and not for commuting, you can see that off-peak transit access is higher than anything else for the streetcar. It's at 37%. But at the peak transit access time, it does not, or at peak hour, it does not provide an additional access to jobs because you're not looking at frequency during this time, increased frequency during those times.
Do you have any other insights going back to like
Sure.
scenario 6 or why it ended up ranking as 22?
Yes, and the transit projects generally, because of the lower volume, ranked lower as compared to the roadway projects, which I'll have a more full list of by next week, of course, but I have some of them in a couple of the upcoming tables. But you'll see that the roadway projects, particularly like I-4 managed lanes, I-75 managed lanes, the US 301 project, does rank much higher in terms of delay reduction and other factors. But it's hard to compare the transit against the those major roadway projects as well, because there are some unknowns too. Anyway, here is a much longer list of all of those that do include a mix of transit and roadway ones. And you can see those ranks there over in the fourth column. But it's a little confusing to me how these transit projects would improve or not improve auto access. But for example, if you have potentially transit vehicles in one lane stopping, you might delay auto access a little bit in some corridors. So I can see potentially that is one explanation, although I'm expecting some further analysis from the consultant. But the highest ones here for auto access to jobs are the Suncoast Parkway project I mentioned, which, while we only showed in Hillsborough County, does go significantly into Polk County all the way up to State Road 52, I believe. State Road 60 ranks very high. There's a great deal of development, of course, in eastern Hillsborough County, which makes sense. I do have a question. I need to look up which of the three I-75 potential interchanges this is that scores so highly here. And I have not done so yet. I apologize. But that that US 301 project for managed lanes from the Selman to Big Bend Road also ranks very high. And that Metro Rapid Brandon that we discussed, which I believe is the 50, 54, 56 up to USF Brandon Transit Project, also does rank quite high. I won't go through each one of these, but you can see the next ones are the interstate managed lanes projects, as well as Lithia Pinecrest and some other state roads, and then declining accessibility scores as you move down the list. So for the planning time index, some similar results. Lithia Pinecrest rises to number 2 in this. It's actually tied overall with the Suncoast Parkway for planning time index improvements. And that has continued to rank very highly, both in the 2045 LRTP as well as now. and I know is a major priority of the county commission. Some interesting ones here that we haven't talked about yet are County Road 39, which is south, the portion that we're talking of is south of State Road 60, which jumps up a little bit in this measure, as well as US 92 out towards Polk County. So something to consider there. You can also see Ballin Road and County Road 672 are a little higher in this measure than they were in the last. The reliability index also pretty similar. Lithia Pinecrest and the Suncoast Parkway switching for 1 and 2 in this measure. And then many of the ones we've discussed already making up the several behind that in terms of their performance here. Again, auto travel time, I-4 takes the top one in this with Lithia Pinecrest and County Road 39 shortly behind. I don't know what happened there, but I guess we're back on. Yeah, everybody seems to be online too. And then the US 301, I-75, I-275, rounding out the middle of this performance metric. For the transit projects, the I-75 and I-275 in this are a little bit of a mystery to me because I don't think we modeled transit along I-75 in this, but I will be looking into that. The transit proposed along that US 301 extension also ranks relatively high here, as well as the airport to downtown transits. But this is one that we'll need to look into a little bit with some further analysis. So with that, I will be happy to answer any questions I can, but again, it's quickly unfolding and getting new pieces of this every day to go for action in May, hopefully, to the board.
Excellent. Thank you, Wade. Any questions?
I was just wondering, you had some that seemed duplicate, but it was a different scenario, the managed lane specifically. Are those really different?
Yes, and I should have mentioned all these different scenarios. We had 10 runs allocated for us in the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Model. And what we try to do to make sure that projects don't influence each other, we'll try to, if we have 25 projects, I believe was the number, but 10 runs, we tried to do 2 or 3 in each run and tried to geographically separate them and not have them on parallel facilities so that we could differentiate the performance of each one without the others. So that's why you see them in different scenarios is we pulled 2 to 3 out for each scenario, trying to get them as far away from each other as we could and trying to get, let's say, a transit project that is maybe an east-west one and a vehicle capacity that's maybe a north-south, so they didn't impact each other as much.
Sounds like a sound strategy. The crystal ball.
Well, some people call it the black box, but take your pick.
Other comments, please? None? I know there's a lot of work that goes into this and very much appreciated across the region, recognizing the value for the long-term planning. It's hard to, we're not going to be able to build our way out of congestion. Hence we have ITS. So we're using that data.
Absolutely. And one of the points of and the further pieces of analysis we'll be doing is looking at how these major projects impact the performance on parallel corridors. So if, let's say, one of these is a major managed lanes capacity project on I-75, we're going to be looking at how that impacts US 41 and US 301, for example, and the benefits to those corridors as well by hopefully moving forward with some of these.
Right. Good work.
Thank you, Madam
There's
Chair.
still more. Thank you very much. Sounds like we should check out next week's board meeting to see the refinements.
Well, and by the time this comes back to you, we will have approved this and we will be narrowing down major projects. I believe your next meeting is in August, if I'm not mistaken.
July,
Or July,
July.
perfect. Well, that'll be,
3 months is enough.
well, we will be working on the cost feasible heavily by then. So you'll see this narrowed down a little bit more,
Excellent. Thank you.
along with the public performance data, public survey.
Oh, good. Okay, sounds good. All right. Thank you very much. All right, next we are going to hear from Kashaka on the Access 2050 LRTP outreach survey.
Yeah, but before I take it then, yeah, this is going to be a live survey, so if you would like to take it to the paper, I have a paper survey copy. But if not, I can provide you a QR code or you can log in from your laptop or device and do it. So if you would like to have a paper copy, let me know and I can just get some of that.
I'll take a paper.
You might want to do it as a presentation.
Sorry, I'm just so old fashioned.
No worries, you can use my computer if you want, but I have papers. What do you posting the?
Going to be presented.
I can either post that through the chat or I'll give you a QR code. I'll take it, it'll be on the presentation if you want to scan it. But it's access2050.org.
Yeah, it takes time to look.
So,
Presentation.
yeah, I'll see it.
It doesn't give you, you're already in, so you can't really
Sure.
It's access2050.org. That's the QR code.
What?
Access2050.org. That's what's gonna
Yeah.
direct you to.
So that's what the QR code basically had, the URL to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, open it, just.
You just download it.
City survey on Metro West. On the way. Which is a Spanish version. Wonder.
Did everyone get it? Here. And Gail, can you provide that, access2050.org in the chat? For everyone online?
Let me see if I can get the actual page up.
Thank you.
Hey, Gail.
Harmony has actually shared it in the chat.
Okay. And Harmony also gave me the link for where it is in the drive, the presentation itself.
Could you repeat that?
Hey, Harmony, can I pull up the presentation? It's not in the, I thought the link was in the agenda packet, but it's not.
And one.
Is it in the? Information? Can you send me the presentation real quick? Sorry, I thought it was in the, podium. I'm making it, can you give me the presentation please, so I can download it?
I'm checking to see if the one in podium is the correct one.
It should be, that's where it was located the last time.
Under March. Sorry. Yeah, I got it. I'm going to use my computer and then share it.
Vishaka, did you find it in the podium?
I did. I'm going to use my computer and present it. Right. So you can all hear me. This is Vishaka Shivraman for TPO staff for the record. And I'm going to be presenting the Access 2050 survey. The website that you would need to go to is access2050.org. And I will just walk you through the presentation. So as you all know that the Hillsborough County is growing, traffic is a big problem, and we are expected to grow over to 2 million by 2050. And we need decisions to make how people can walk, bike, take a bus, train, or ferry. So that's why we have launched this survey. It actually started last month, and we are in the last phase of this survey, which runs up to April 15th. This survey uses innovative outreach methods to work closely with community leaders to ensure community engagement to access even the hardest to reach community areas and residents. Our surveys are available in multiple languages and it's ADA compliant. So the theme is we are dedicated to providing access to everyone. So before I jump into that, I just wanted to explain to you what is a long-range transportation plan. The long-range transportation plan looks forward 25 years and directs federal and state dollars towards transportation investments in the county. We update that plan every 5 years, and this one will be updating currently will be adopted in October 2024. In this survey, you can share your thoughts and ideas on transportation corridors and projects that you would like to prioritize, how to fund them, and what projects that you support. With that, have you all been able to get into the survey? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you are in the first screen here, if you're completing the paper survey, this is it. So this is the purple screen, and that is where you tell what your priorities are. You should be seeing the screen now. In the priorities tab, you can drag the top 5 transportation priorities above the dotted lines as shown in the figure here. Please make sure to rank them in the order of importance. Once you list your top 5 priorities, we can move on to the next tab. So I'll give you a minute to go through this. On the paper survey, Margaret, you would want to just mark them.
That's okay. I'm doing it online.
Okay. Can I move on to the next screen? So this is a green screen or in which you will see the funding sources. Here we need your input for answering the questions with approval or disapproval using the green thumbs up or the red thumbs down arrow for the disapproval. You will also be able to leave a comment for each question by clicking on the gray circle with the white comment sign. a minute here. So option one is a community investment tax. This is a current tax that benefits education, public safety, and transportation. Medium income individuals would pay approximately $53 per year on a half-cent tax, or about 106 per year on a full cent tax. That's the screen. The next option is a gas tax. This is about 7 cents per gallon and funds many of our conservation projects. The gas tax is a fee imposed by the government on each gallon of gasoline sold, and the money collected goes towards maintaining and building roads and highways. Good thumbs up, but not sound good. The third option is a transit service property tax that funds bus service and maintenance. A home with a median assessed value of 200K would pay approximately $100 per year at the current millage of Appleton. Option 4 is the express toll lanes, like those on Veterans and 7 Expressways. These are used to pay for toll prices. And the fifth option is other funding sources, which we are looking at here are driver's license fee, rideshare services, etc. These funding sources would require advocacy from the community and may require approval by the Florida legislature to be implemented. And now I'm moving on to the major projects, which is the red screen. On the screen, you can click on the colored bubble and let us know if you support any transportation project by clicking on the yes or the no button. You may also leave a comment if you have any additional questions or comments. So I'll walk you. I think you've seen most of this. And this is a legend. You have highway widening projects, elevated or managed lanes, transit, and new interchanges. And these were some of the projects that we just explained in the previous presentation. So you should be familiar with it. The projects are the new interchange on I-75, the I-75 reconstruction, I-75 and 301, the I-275 interchange near US 41, and the I-75 interchange near Harley Road. Yes.
So I clicked on all the projects at this point, but it's not letting me moving on.
No, it's all going to be in one screen.
Yes, I know, but I'm here and there's something for me to do. Other projects.
So if you have any comments on individual projects, you can click that.
But I don't. Do I have to click on that too?
If you have any comments, you can add that as a written comment, but if not, the next screen would be, I think it's you.
But it has like a little bar here. And I was just.
Yeah, that's it. That's the last screen is a blue screen actually.
Okay.
And the green projects are the projects. I don't think I need to read all of them out. But the Metro Rapid, the multimodal corridor, the USF Tampa Premium Transit Streetcar Extension, the regional passenger transit from Brooksville to Bradenton, which is the north-south, the BRT on 56th. And these are the purple projects, which are the managed lanes projects, the I-275 managed lanes, Gandy Bridge replacement, the Suncoast Parkway widening, I-75 North managed lanes. So the I-75, we broke them into two projects, the north and the south. I-4 managed lanes from downtown Tampa to Polk, and the south managed lanes from Manatee Line to I-4. The next set of projects are the widening projects or the big projects, which are I-275 widening from Hillsborough to Bears Avenue, the US 301 elevated extension, Concord widening. Vidya Pinecrest Road widening from Kings to Fisher. State Road 60. From Valley Code to Polk County Line. PR 39. From SR 674 to SR 60. US 92 from Palm Road to Polk County in Kansas City. And we're done with that. Then move on to the last screen. If you would like to win some exciting prizes, you will have to enter your email address and some of the basic questions, which are zip code, some of the other demographics questions. And with that, if you click finish, you will be completing the survey. And like I mentioned before, the last day to fill the survey would be April the 15th. So just to give an idea on what's next, currently we are in the survey. Following this, the survey team will analyze the survey and produce the results. And in October, we will be adopting the long range transportation plan at a public hearing on April 16th. Are there any questions that you have for me?
It's a good survey. It was easy to use.
Thank you. That's good to know. And our outreach team is there. They've been attending a lot of events, but like I said, this is literally the last less than 2 weeks of the survey, and we're trying to get as much coverage as possible. I can actually send some records with you if you'd like to distribute your agency staff or anything cool on this, so that maybe sure it'd be helpful to spread the word.
Yeah, each of our, in our offices, will you in the break room or whatever.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, anyone have questions about the survey or input? Quiet group today. Good information. Thank you, Vishaka.
Thank you so much.
Okay, under old business, new business, I don't have anything. Does anyone have anything they want to share? Any new business possibly? Anything new going on? New technologies of any conferences? Actually, Alice Price and the Tampa Bay Smart Cities Alliance, there's a team that they're going to be presenting at the APA Florida conference coming up in April. It'll be here in Tampa.
APA national. National is in April, right?
Oh, is it national?
Florida would be September.
Oh, I thought it was the Florida.
Sure. There's another conference, the ITS America has a national conference in Arizona, Phoenix around May.
Could be. Anyone going to the ITS conference? Is it in May in Arizona?
It's April.
April the 22nd, we are going 4 counties and then.
Oh, good.
Do you have a presentation?
No, we don't.
Well, if you see anyone and you think that the region could benefit from it, you can bring it back to us. Maybe we can get a presentation.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'll pay attention to that.
That would be really helpful. Always try, we have a lot going on right now, but we always need to, look for the future. And then it could be interesting on all this data that we're going to be bringing in to the area, with all that data, how are we using it? In order to refine, there may be some innovative ideas or things to look forward to or get excited about. Anyone else?
I did want to mention a couple of things. So we are working for a DOT research project on evaluating pedestrian detection systems, automated pedestrian detection. So the idea is to have the systems where Nobody has to push anything. They just will detect pedestrians and therefore, put the call in the controller. But at the same time, you can now extend it out to if you're talking CV. That can be part of it. So without, because the question was how are pedestrians going to participate in the whole CV environment. So that's what the project is looking at. And another one I was going to say that, USDOT does have some grants and now proposals that are coming out that basically are looking into using AI applications to try to kind of use all this data that we have and data fusion to actually produce some outcomes that are feasible. So the idea is that we've had data for a long time, but now they're looking into actually producing tools similar to a GPT situation where you put a prompt, ask a question, and then using the data in the background, have an output that will give you, for example, solutions or options for increasing capacity or decreasing congestion or doing this or doing that for a particular area using obviously data in the background. So they're having it's called Complete Streets AI actually. And it's a proposal that is out now, and we're looking to kind of set up a team to work on it. So that's going to be interesting if we manage to do so.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
If you need participants in any research, we would be more than happy to participate. The city would, for sure.
Thank you.
And the passive detection study, you already have that?
Yes, actually, we are working with Sarasota. Sarasota had there's a timeline where they're already doing it. And we're just partnering with them to evaluate their system. District 5 also was putting some stuff up, but they were kind of later on. And actually, we do have a project coming up with Hillsborough County for evaluation of a couple of those devices, working with Abigail. So we'll have something local here.
Good.
I don't know if the city had anything, but it's always there. So, I mean, I think it's going to be the next thing out there for pedestrians, bicycles.
Okay.
Yes, Michelle.
Are you working with the consultant on the project or consultant?
No, I mean, other than vendor for the equipment, which we were lucky enough, like I said, in the City of Sarasota had a project already, so we're not purchasing any equipment. If we hadn't had that, then yeah, we have to find a vendor and do that. This is a second phase of a project we did a couple of years ago, where at the time it was kind of just looking at the technologies behind. So we looked at LiDAR, thermal cameras, radar, all the kind of the technologies that you have, and we identified which ones were plausibility to happen. And now, obviously, a few years later, we have solutions that are out there being sold. So that's what the project is about. Yeah.
And where are you in that project phase?
So right now we're doing data collection, actually, because Sarasota has been deploying the last 2-3 weeks. So we did a data collection before, we would do before after analysis. And now we're looking to wait for their system to kind of mature, because it does have a machine learning algorithm that takes a couple of weeks to use, the data to learn and just get better. And we're going to do the data collection after and finish the analysis in the next 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be a great project to present here, and the
Sure.
results of your study and
Yeah.
the information. Because I know that we have a couple corridors, especially on our bicycle network, looking for passive detection, and we have a few ideas of where to deploy it, because we have several cycle tracks with crossing intersections. The one that pops into mind right away is right around the corner here from where Cass Street and it intersects with Nebraska, and then also where Cass Street cycle track intersects with Bard. They're really wide intersections, and passive detection would be it'd be a good application at those locations.
Yes.
Especially with the cyclists, the cycle track. There's nothing more aggravating as a cyclist to have to dismount to go push the button because there's not enough side street traffic to draw the signal. Yeah, that'd be great if you can present, maybe not at the next, but the following meeting, maybe 6 months from now.
Sure. I mean, I could present something on X. It's just not going to be final. That's all.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, just let us know. Very interested in putting on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay, well, I think that brings us to the adjournment of the meeting. You guys have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.